Hi, my name is Cami, and some of you might remember me. Some of you might not. Some of you may never have known who I was to begin with, and that's okay. This channel has been dormant for about 14 years. I created it and never really did anything with it, but I'm back, and I really want to do something with it this time. My intention for this channel is to entertain, inspire, and encourage you, but that's not all. It's also for me to grow and explore and enjoy life, but most of all, it is a documentary of self-healing. Life has a unique way of throwing us curveballs, and just when you think you have it figured out, something unexpected happens or something inside you changes. I have been changing. These last 2 years have thrown me so many curveballs that it was a challenge to even find enough bats to swing at them. For the last year, I've really had to analyze this fast-paced game, and I've thought long and hard about whether I even wanted to play. But you know what? I do. I do want to play. I want to be fully engaged in the game. I want to be fully alive, and I want to swing at every ball I get a chance to. Okay, enough about baseball. This channel is not about that. This channel is about climbing mountains and braving the rapids, and it's about getting lost in the woods intentionally so that I can find myself. It's about life, and I mean really living it. Part of me wants to keep quiet about my journey. I've dreamt often of just vanishing into the wilderness. Out there you learn so much about yourself. When you are truly alone with only yourself to talk to and get answers from, you might find that you are far wiser than you give yourself credit for. September of 2021, I set out on a journey of self-discovery. I took 2 weeks off of work and set off for the Appalachian Trail. I started at Amicalola Falls in Georgia and hiked the 8-mile approach trail to Springer Mountain. I was not at all prepared for it. I was very overweight and hadn't done proper training heading up to it. By the time I reached Springer Mountain, I was completely exhausted and almost considered giving up before I even really started. But there was something inside me that was screaming to be free. I had repressed it all my life, and the only way I was going to be able to exercise this thing inside me was to get along with it and face it head on. It was either going to destroy me, or I was going to destroy it. When I started, I really wasn't sure which it was going to be. I set up camp at the trailhead around midnight. I had just enough strength to prepare a small meal and get my tent up. The trek up the mountain was so challenging that I didn't even think about that thing inside me that was eating me alive. All I had on my mind was getting there. I woke up early and took my time making breakfast and packing up. I couldn't see much the night before, but in the morning the beauty of the place took my breath away and brought me to tears. I told myself, "You made it." Over the next few days, the trail got easier. Not because it was less arduous, but because I was becoming stronger. I intentionally started this hike on my birthday, because not only was it a gift to myself, but it was also a form of being reborn, symbolically giving myself a new lease on life. As I trekked on, I felt both my spirit and my body getting stronger and becoming more alive. On the 3rd day of my hike, I arrived at a huge boulder that hung over the edge of a valley. They tell me this rock is named Preacher Rock because years ago a preacher who lived in the valley below would climb this mountain to this very spot and practice his sermons. I stood there looking out over the valley. A dense fog hung just below me, and the wind sweeping up from it blew a fine mist over my face. In that moment, I thought of all the words he must have had come into his head, as if God was speaking to him. And in that moment, I heard a voice in my head speaking to me as well. Some call this the spirit of the trail, and some simply call it God. But whatever it was, I clearly heard it say, "Stop lying to yourself. Stop lying to people. Be who you are meant to be." It was in that moment I knew it was time to start living as my authentic self. Some of you may have already known, and some of you may have figured it out intuitively. I am just a woman who was born with the wrong body, and now it's time to let her live. This channel, while it is a documentary of my journey, it is not about being transgender. That's just one small part of this story, and I am writing more of it every day. My plan is to find a place in nature, at least once a week, to just get alone with my thoughts and let my muse speak through my pen. She talks to me often, and many times I know these words are meant to be shared. They are meant to inspire and encourage those who are on their own journeys, whatever their destination may be. There will be adventures in bushcraft and mountain climbing and kayaking and foraging and just living in nature and just learning new things. I really hope that you will follow along as I live this two-spirit life.